evening, everybody. Good evening. I'm Steve Lentini, and I am the CEO of the Lentini Sales Training Institute, Lentini Training, and the Prosperity Institute. And I've been working with and coaching salespeople for over 40 years. I am a published author. Sales Success for the Rookie, How to Succeed at Sales Right from the Start is on the way out to market in February or March. It'll be on Amazon, and currently Imagine 30 Days to a New You is already on the market, and I am a contributing author in that book, page 222 if you want to go right to my chapter. And so anyway, I've noticed over the 40 years of working in sales and working with salespeople, the things that hold people back. They have no idea how they show up holds them back. They could close even more sales. Some of them had an arrogance that they knew it all, that no one could teach them anything. And that arrogance, by the way, showed up in front of customers because, again, customers recognized there was no room to contribute to that person. And all they did was tell them how great they were, or they talked a lot. And talking a lot, presenting is dead. It's been dead for a long time. So if you're still presenting, you're a dead dog. You're a dinosaur. So the client needs to be speaking 70 or 80% of the time when you initially meet them. And that's after you bond with them. And that's after you've spent some time getting to know about them. And then there's other tricks of the trade that really aren't tricks of the trade anymore. It's about being mindful and being present and understanding who your ideal client is. But today we're working a little bit from one of my books, and so let me read to you, if you don't mind, a little bit of what I read. Don't settle for less. Don't settle for less, okay? You're always harvesting something you planted. If you want a bigger harvest, plant more. So the idea of living in a universe is you're planting something with your thoughts, your words, and your actions. It's like a seed. You're putting it into the ethers of the invisible, the universe. And over time, what returns to you is what you put out, the energy that you put out. So I talk every week about managing that energy you put out. So here's an energy. Let me read to you. Don't cave into the income avalanche. This is from my book, Sales Success for the Rookie, that will be out very shortly in an updated version, published by Motivational Press. Justin Sachs, very grateful, Justin, for the help. So don't cave into the income avalanche with fear that you don't have enough income. You make poor decisions on business prospects when you've got that idea that you don't have enough. You start to accept customers who drain your energy, doing business with inappropriate types of people who it doesn't work, right? Doing business with inappropriate types of people, it doesn't work. They take you away from people, the ideal customer. Hopefully you have that in mind, and we'll talk about that a little later. So while you're running around meeting the demands of these customers who've you've trained to take advantage of you, you've trained them to take advantage of you, you could be working with people who will allow you to make an abundant living. There's people all day long that pay full price for things because they appreciate the service. They appreciate that little extra that you're giving them. So if you haven't helped customers grow, then do so. So if you're looking to help your top customers become better and giving them ideas about how they could become better, then you're going to get more customers and referrals because you're helping people. That's a great energy, all right? Help make your customers more profitable. What do you notice about your customers? Can you suggest things that you see? Oftentimes, outside observers, even if you're not there if it's not something that you're there to sell them, even if it's just something you notice, they'll appreciate it when you say, hey, I noticed something. Do you mind if I share it with you? I think that I could help you become more profitable. They're going to appreciate it. Maybe you could gradually raise their prices, educate them on what makes your company more productive, hence more competitive. Train your customer to prosper. All right, so I wrote this a number of years ago. I remade my territory one year by asking myself, who would I call on and who would I sell if I didn't worry about money? So beginning with the end in mind, I thought about who's the 20% of my customers that are now giving me 80% of my work? And I realized they were ideal customers. They loved us, they loved me, they let me make a living, a reasonable living. I mean, we weren't gouging them as a company, we were fair, and we weren't the lowest. So what I noticed was I could replicate that. I could go after more customers like that. And I defined the ideal starting with the end in mind. How did I want it? So I wanted to make a certain margin. I wanted certain size customers, certain annual spend. And if they didn't meet that target, then I didn't spend any time with them, and I didn't initially spend any time with them. So I wasn't going after people who didn't meet the ideal. Why? It was my definition of ideal, and it came from looking over my own customer book, my own customer list. So I reviewed each customer and I ranked them by sales, profit, and commission and the time they required from me. And I noticed that many of them, of the low margin customers, took a lot of my time. So over time, I raised their prices and they went away because I wanted them to. And some stayed, and I made a nice margin, and they appreciated my service. Whenever they called me, I did service them, and I did not give them the same amount of time that I used to. And I showed them too, and I explained to them. I told them right up front, hey, I'm not going to be able to spend as much time as I was with you because I have to grow the customer. The company's making demands of me to grow my customer base. And so you need me, I'll be available, and I'll be there to help you. And it won't look like it did in the past. And it didn't matter if they left. It didn't matter. The top 15%, 20% are where you need to focus your efforts, and the bottom 15%, let them go. Let them go. Unless you don't spend any time with them, let them stay as long as they stay. Yeah, that's all I can say about that. So you don't have to be the lowest price. Your goal is to help people buy. Some prospects buy because of force. They're tired of pestering. I knew a guy that was so obnoxious, they actually bought from the guy. I witnessed it. He was so obnoxious, they bought from him. They wanted to do anything to get away from him, and they bought from him. He could have done double the business if he hadn't been so obnoxious. He wouldn't listen. He was like a nut. A nutshell. He was like a nut in more ways than one, but he was like a nutshell, a very hard one, like a Brazil nut. He was like a Brazil nut. You couldn't crack him open to add anything to him. He'd tell you all day long how to do it, and he wouldn't listen. But often we've all had enthusiastic prospects that say, hey, things are looking good. Call me on Monday. I'll give you an order. And then you call back, and they disappear. They go into voicemail jail, and they don't call you back. And this is because you missed something. You missed something. You pushed the customer so hard you made them uncomfortable, or you missed something in the back and forth. Maybe you talked too much and you didn't have a lot of back and forth. Whatever it is, you missed something. You do your research on this, and customers, given respect and the space to buy what fits, will stay your customers. And so anyway, let's talk a little bit about remaking your territory, right? You start with the end in mind. You think about your ideal customers, looking right at your customer list. Who are the 20% that give you 80% of your business, or 30% that give you 70? When you do the exercise, you're going to find these numbers work out to be true. I've done them for years, gone into clients and worked out these formulas and found the same thing to be true, that 20 to 30% of the customers were giving them 80% of their business. Then I helped them identify targets that matched the top 20 or 30%, because that's where I wanted them to spend their time and where I wanted to spend my time. And when I was a salesman on the road, I did this proactively and had 2 huge increase years over previous years and made salesperson of the year. And it's because I only spent my time with what I thought was ideal. And I rejected the bottom 15%. I didn't spend as much time with the existing customers at the bottom 15%. And I made a lot more money, and I increased my sales a lot. So what's the ideal margin? What's your ideal customer? Where are your customers' products and where are your company's products and service priced in relation to your competition? If you're the lowest, why not go up? Why be the lowest? I mean, listen, if your operation is lean and mean and that's your intention is to be the lowest in the marketplace, then you will be profitable and you want to retain that edge, okay? But I can tell you that Mercedes are still selling, and Jaguars, and Maseratis, and Ferraris, and I mean, the top end is still selling. So you can address the top end of any market. I don't care what market you're in. Software, services, healthcare, equipment, healthcare services, insurance. I mean, Geico gets away with just selling price, and they have a very low overhead. They don't have a sales team. And oftentimes, they're a little obnoxious to deal with online. It's a pain in the neck. You don't have to be like Home Depot and Lowe's. Sherwin-Williams is existing very nicely, just selling paint and good quality paint. But again, you define your market. You don't have to be the lowest. And then what value do you bring so that you justify higher pricing? So test it, right? Test it. Albert Einstein said 80% of the movement of matter is intention. Intend that you'll make your margin. So a lot of people, salespeople, especially A-type, they don't understand the power of intention, which is the power of your mind, right? So you set the intention and picture it in your mind. Picture it. Spend time picturing every morning before you get out of bed or when you're meditating. Hello? How many of you meditating? And then 5 or 10 minutes, 15 minutes before you fall asleep, picture how you want your territory to be. So intend those ideal customers. I would see handshakes and contracts with the approved the words approved, margin, very profitable, and see handshakes, see the contracts, and intend every day that you're going to bring the highest and good to all your customers, and you're going to send that energy, wishing them the highest good, joy, peace, success, and happiness. Bless them silently. That's an energy that you send out. It comes back to you, but you have to prove that to yourself. I've been doing this for a long time, and it comes back to me every day. I'm amazed how blessed I am and how grateful it helps me be, recognizing the miracles that I'm creating by understanding the laws of living in the universe. Okay. So if I lost 10% of you, if you shut it down, you're missing out, and you're not listening to the power of intention and experimenting with visualization and your own power to manifest a life, to create a life. Okay, so visualize contracts signed. We talked about that. Handshakes, and with those margins agreed upon, the margins that you want. It's okay. See the happy faces of your prospects. Feel what it would feel to have outcomes like these. Feel the outcome. Feel the result of it. How would you feel? You could see and feel, how would you spend the money? Would you have a second home on a golf course with palm trees? Would you have a boat and a captain? You can imagine anything you want. Nothing is beyond imagination. There's no boundaries. Limitless potential is what you want to talk about. Use the power of your thoughts to help you create the world you envision. See yourself succeeding beyond your wildest dreams. Why not? Why not? Okay, so a lot of times if you're having problems with clients not paying you full price and haggling a lot with you, then you want to look at, are you haggling? You're probably a haggler. This is what I find when I work with people and they complain that people don't pay them full price. They got, they got all these complaints. I call them that they're living in a complaint. And I say, hey, I'm the complaint-free zone. I'm not dealing with complaints. I want to be with people who are positive and have a great image of themselves and their future, because that's what shows up. If they have faith, right? They got to have faith. That's faith, believing in something bigger than themselves, right? A God or the divine or the universe or knowledge, whatever it is, but something bigger than you. Then intending it'll happen, visualizing it, picturing it, imagining great things for you, right? And then sending out that energy of wishing your prospects joy, peace, happiness, success, even silently blessing them. And then you not haggling. Excuse me. So you pay full price. Go out and pay full price for something. Go out and double a tip for a waiter or a waitress. Yeah. How about leaving tips at places where you wouldn't ordinarily, at the dry cleaners, or buying someone else's groceries? You become exceedingly generous. Now, we're going to talk about tithing as well in the future, in one of my future broadcasts, but successful business people are tithers. You may recognize the names of Jack Canfield and Mark Victor Hansen, Jim Rohn, Rockefellers, way back to the early 1800s, John Rockefeller, the Mellons, the Carnegies. You may recognize these names. They're all tithers. They tithe 10% of their income to their source of spiritual support. We'll focus on a little more of that later. But this is what all successful salespeople, extremely successful business people, and extremely successful salespeople are learning to do, is to go beyond the limits of a nut, an eggshell, a Brazil nut, or an acorn, right? You can become an oak tree. You can, but that's up to you. The book Blue Ocean Strategy talks about creating a blue ocean strategy for your company and your margins, and without hesitation, because you're serving a market that has customers calling you for your expertise. So are you an expert, right? And if you are, you can get more money. Not because you're another me too, selling the same product or service, and the price becomes the major determining factor. So if price is the major determining factor, you're doing it. You're responsible for it. Now, I'm going to have salespeople say, Steve, no, it's the marketplace, it's my competitors. No, you haven't defined your offering, and you're not operating at the top end of the funnel. There's a top end in whatever you're selling, and you want to operate the top end. Let's suppose you're a painting company, a service company, then you have to have extremely good service, right? You're going to be the white glove guy. When you leave, there's no paint chips, there's no dust, there's no specks anywhere, and that's what you train your painters. Hey, we're white glove, and we're getting extra money, and we're paying you extra money. So you got to live it. Put your money where your mouth is. You got to have integrity. So if you say you're top of the line, you got to train everybody, then you got to treat them that way, and then you have to pay them that way. And then you have to look for top of the line customers. So your market, your territory is what you've made it. So what I looked at, starting with the end of mine, is what was my average sale for the territory? How many customers or sales were required to hit my goal? So I came up with an income goal, and then I said, what's my average sale and average commission? So then it said to me, I either have to raise my average commission. If it said I need like 100 new customers, then it was either get 100 new customers at that average that I had, or raise the average, raise my average sale, right? How many customers or sales are required to hit the goal? So if I'm going to raise, let's say I say my average commission is $1,000, but I want to double it. I want to go to 2,000 or even 3. I'll need fewer customers to hit my goal, right? I'll divide by 3,000. I got a $1 million goal increase. I'll divide by $3,000 in the average sale, or 30,000, or 50,000. I'll need a lot less customers if I'm targeting value customers, large customers. So then what kind of prospects or customers fit the profile of doubling the average sale or even tripling the average sale? How many existing customers fit the profile of the increased average? Make a list of existing customers that do not fit the new profile, right? Which customers have the potential to fit your new profile, and which targets? Maybe people are buying from some of your competitors and you could increase your business. Or they're growing and have plans for expansion. Have you even talked about that with your customers, right? So any customers that will not fit your new plan, give them to someone else in the company, perhaps a trainee, right? I mean, you're going to lower your income for a little while, but you're going to gain time, right? Decide to make the phone the only way you contact people. Maybe you put the lower 15% only on phone contact. Hey, it's Steve, checking in. How you doing? I noticed you ordered. Let's review it. Did you remember this? Did you remember that? How are things going? Any new ideas? Any new projects? Okay, I'll be by next quarter. So maybe you reduce, you were seeing them once a month or once every 6 weeks. Now you see them every 90 days. And you're still seeing them, and you see them when you're in the area of other larger customers. Because sometimes in the lower tiers, there's customers that are on the way up, what I call rising stars, right? They're in there somewhere. Now, you use your picture of your new ideal customer, make a list of new target accounts. So what are the ones you've driven by? Maybe you've said in your mind, I'm not good enough. These people are too big for me. Raise your vision. You know, stop seeing the horizon as flat, right? You think that ended with Columbus. You thought the world was flat and that you'd fall off from somewhere. Everyone sees the horizon as flat. Today I can push farther than yesterday. And this is true every day, that when I get up, I have to keep pushing myself. Some days my brain doesn't want to. It doesn't feel like it. We have to push beyond those feelings of I'd rather not. I have a friend, Gifford, who calls them the I'd rather nots. Okay, we all have them. Get going. Develop, you can ask your existing customers if they know anyone who works at some of your targets. Maybe they could refer you. Have you asked over the last few years or 6 months? Maybe it's been a while since you asked for referrals. Now you can ask specifically for people that are on this big target list that you have. Hey, do you know anyone at company X, company Y, company B, company 12? Do you know anyone? Could you refer me in? Because they like you, so they're going to give you what? A great referral. Yeah. Plus, when you know someone at a company, or they know someone at a company who knows someone, it's warmer than a cold call. It's warmer, and it takes a lot less time. Now, for targets that you can't get introduced to, develop a marketing postcard. Something that would perhaps get their attention. Maybe you got a great idea, a hook that other people don't have concerning your product or service. Perhaps you know a particular problem or pain, right? A pain that many of your customers had before you sold them. So you could say, hey, listen, I helped customers fix this. And then I helped prospects fix this, and today they're my customers, things like that. Send the postcard to the target accounts, maybe 20 or 25 at a time. It's easier to follow up a small amount. Now follow up with them, send the postcard, tell them you're even going to call. Hey, I'm going to call next Tuesday. You mail it the week before. Mail them 3 or 4 times. So maybe you say, hey, I'm going to call. The next card you say, I'm going to call in 2 weeks. The next card you can say, hey, I'm going to call next week on Tuesday. You have these cards made. Include the following message. I'll be calling you to ask for an appointment next Tuesday. More on warming that up in chapter 12. So that's in the future of my book. So keep the mailing going. You're going to call 20 to 25 targets per week, 4 or 5 per day. Make it manageable, right? Your job is action. Keep the action up, and your sales will increase. So sales behavior is planting a seed of a future harvest. Every time you're knocking on a door or sending out a card, you are planting for a future harvest. Okay? Keep doing it. Your job, if you're a rookie, is to meet people. That's your job. Find out what they do, tell them what you do, share it with them, and share with them people you know who might help them. So you're out there as a rookie, you say, hey, who are you looking for? Who's your ideal target? I want to help you. That's an amazing energy. That's planting a seed that you will get back, because people will want to help you, and you'll be amazed. You'll be called the connector, and you'll be amazed about how that works. So a sale is always about behavior, your behavior. So some of the behaviors that will help you succeed. So I like to start with the end in mind. And since the end is we want to meet a lot of people, start thinking about who's my target market, who is my customer who's buying products like mine. Make a list of the perfect product prospects. We've talked about that. Now take a good look at the list and think about, where do they hang out? All right. So you think about your target market and your ideal in that target market, and think about, where do they hang out? They're networking today. It's not necessarily at a country club, because that's expensive and it takes a lot of time. But they have associations that they join, and most associations have positions for suppliers, right? So you could join as a supplier. They oftentimes call them affiliates or associates. You can join those. All right. Next, Maybe they hang out in networking groups, right? So you can join a networking group. And you can always go to a networking group or even a Rotary, for example. You can go to Rotary meetings, but you can go for a few times to sample them. You can go to multiple meetings, different areas, different chapters in a networking group, for example, like BNI or Provisors. You can sample and get a feel for which group or which group of people are really a good fit for you. And then you join, but you join and your goal is to become a giver. So if you join an association, they're usually looking for speakers. Maybe you say, hey, I'll get on the speaker committee and I'll find speakers. They're usually looking for new members. Hey, I'll find new associate members like me, suppliers. I'll work on that committee. Make yourself valuable. So if you get there, you make yourself valuable by becoming visible. So you join, you become visible and valuable, then you become profitable. So that might take a year. You have to have patience because you need time. A lot of bosses don't have patience for it. I'll tell your boss to call me because I'll tell him, don't be a schnorrer, don't be a dope. I'll tell him, you don't have to tell him. And maybe he'll become a client, right? And I'll help the company grow. That's what I do. I help companies grow. Wherever I go, sales have increased. Whether they give me credit for it or not doesn't matter, but I can tell you wherever I go, sales increase. And a lot of times it's from the power of changing people's thinking and projecting my own power of intention and visualization into the culture of the company. And then the company grows. Like they take on a task that they didn't think they could. I was working with guys who didn't think they could acquire a certain company. They kept vacillating back and forth. And I said, stick in there, stay in there. And it turned out to be the best thing ever. I was also in a company, an office supply company, where they didn't believe that they could enter a certain segment of their marketplace. And anyway, they did. And they did good. They broke through, which is really interesting, right? They broke through. And we closed a $1.4 million sale and other sales besides. And I was only there 8 months. And so, in fact, this particular $1.4 million sale wanted me involved in the sale. They called and said, Steve, we got a difficult thing to say. What's that? They said, how do we say it? I said, just hit me with it. We want to award it to your company. We don't want your salesman. I said, okay, what do you want to do? We'd like you to be involved. If you're involved, we will award it to you. An amazing miracle. And I've had other multi-million-dollar sales that were just like that. And all those different kind of miracles continue to happen in my life. You got to read the book. So it'll be out shortly. So if you're gonna develop a list of your target market based on the ideal prospects and ideal customer. And you might need, listen, if you don't have any customers yet, you got to ask your boss, who's our ideal? You'll be impressed. What's our ideal target? Who's our most profitable? Show me the top 20%. I want to mirror them. I want to make sure I spend my time going after them. If he tries to say you're not experienced enough, it's BS. People don't need product knowledge today. What they need is somebody's going to help them and identify a pain. You could call some of those top 20% customers and say, hey, we know you like us. I know that. And I'm just starting out. What did you like about us? Somebody in that list will take some time with you. They'll appreciate that you asked. Anything, by the way, while I got you on the phone, that we could improve. Wow. Now you become someone who helps the company improve. See, it's all about questioning and communication and understanding where you're at. So if you're a rookie, you define the ideal prospect and show up as a gal that asks a lot of questions about top customers and mirror that. Now you go out and intend it and visualize it and start talking to people. And when someone says, hey, what about this or that in your company? Can you solve that? I don't know, sir. I'm relatively new. Or I don't know, ma'am. I'll get you the answer. Can I get back to you in an hour? And go get the answer and call them back. That's all you need to do, because it's refreshing to be honest. And it's refreshing to be in your body. You're just looking to help people. That's how you show up. You don't need to remember anything. You just show up as you with integrity and alertness and enthusiasm and brightness. And you got a lot of questions, and I'll teach you questions. You call me. I will help you. Rookies get going faster with me. They get going right from the start, a lot faster with me if they listen. A lot of companies, I've worked with people who the boss overruled me all the time because he wanted to teach it the old way. The old way. Well, listen, salespeople today are younger and different and doing things a new way. And when they were born, a cell phone, a flip phone was old, right? When we were born, there wasn't even fax. So, they're going to laugh when you tell them that, but that's the truth. There wasn't even a fax machine. There was landlines, period. No email. Look what's changed. Look what's changed. Now, we can do training on video. We can do coaching on video. I can call you. I can call you by Skype and see you live. So the world is changing. You have to change. And when you change, things change. If you're a rookie, celebrate wanting to do things a new way. And bring that energy everywhere you go, even with prospects. Hey, I'm looking for new ways to serve you. I'm looking for new markets. I'm looking for new products. I'm looking to solve new problems. What's going on in the company that I could help you with? That's a great energy. That's a great energy. You're going to do well with that energy. Okay, so I always go over and give a little more. I started early and we're ending after 30 minutes, which is always my promise. I always go the extra mile. It's something I encourage all of you to do. So again, my name is Steve Lentini. Here's how you reach me. Steve, SteveLentini.com. Steve at SteveLentini.com. My phone number is 917-805-1088. And you can reach my office line. Best way to get me is to cell because I always have it with me. 917-805-1088. My office line is 802-782-8335. Look for Sales Success for the Rookie, How to Succeed at Sales Right from the Start from Motivational Press shortly. And now on Amazon, you can go to Amazon and find Imagine 30 Days to a New You. Hold on one second. I'm going to get you a picture of it so that you can see it. You can still hear me. I'm getting you a picture of the great book. Here it is. Imagine 30 Days to a New You by Justin Sachs and 29 leading experts, including me, Steve Lentini. All right. Thank you so much for your attention. Thank you all for your questions. And I'm grateful to have 312 attendees, and it's a miracle. Okay. Thank you very much. Good night. I have to stop the broadcast. Good night. I'm grateful.